Who is the worst villain in Toy Story? Is it Sid? Is it Emperor Zurg? Or is it somebody else? This is the mystery I've been trying to solve recently. So, I started looking at the characters and their worst crimes. And some of them can be pretty vile and cruel, especially if you look at it from the toy's point of view. First up is Forky. Not exactly a villain in the classical sense, but a good Easter egg for our list. Forky is a toy that was made from a simple plastic spork. That's a spoon and fork hybrid. Forky believes he's not a toy, but instead belongs in the trash. He tries to throw himself out every chance he's given. He's unable to understand his purpose, and even after he starts accepting that he was made to make Bonnie happy, he still refers to himself as,
"I'm Bonnie's trash." Yes, wait.
Woody tirelessly prevents Forky from jumping into the trash can, because Forky's obsession with being trash is actually a mirror image of Woody's inner fears. Forky sees himself as discarded trash, while Woody faces the fear of being forgotten and becoming an old toy. Woody's attempt to convince Forky that toys are important is essentially him convincing himself. But nothing makes any sense for Forky. All he wants is to be left in the garbage and to stay there, forever. His crime? Chronic self-disposal. Questionable crime, but some countries criminalize attempts to take your own life. In Nigeria, children as young as 7 can be arrested, tried, and prosecuted for that crime. A country like Singapore only repealed its anti-self-deletion law in 2020. Before that, you get a year in jail for trying and failing to off yourself. In the end, Forky meets another handmade toy called Knifey. Guided by Woody and changed by their adventure, he accepts his role as a toy and embraces his purpose as Bonnie's companion. Next, we have Al McWiggin, a chaotic toy store owner and collector. He's not a villain in a classical sense, but simply a greedy, lazy man obsessed with rare toys and their value. And he's hilarious. While attending a yard sale at Andy's house, Al notices Woody. Realizing it is the only missing toy for his collection, and knowing how valuable Woody is, Al tries to buy it. But Andy's mother refuses to sell Woody, and wonders how he got there in the first place. Al offers her $50 and his watch, but she refuses. He then pushes a skateboard to cause noise, and when Mrs. Davis turns her back, he steals Woody and escapes with him. Al committed grand larceny, but from a toy's perspective, it was kidnapping. Al also commits several traffic violations on his way to work. On a Saturday! No turn signals, unsafe merging, reckless driving, public endangerment, cutting through traffic, driving over sidewalks. And all that while being dressed as a chicken. That would be one strange police report if he was pulled over. And a lot of tickets. Later in his apartment, Al accidentally severs Woody's arm. He then calls a professional named Jerry to reattach the arm. In a human court of law, his crime would be destruction of property because it's a stolen item. But from a toy perspective, it's mutilation. Once Woody's arm is restored, Al contacts Mr. Kanishi, a museum owner from Japan who wants to buy the toy set. With this move, Al commits another crime, selling of stolen goods. Or at least an attempt to do so. But his worst crime from a toy perspective is exceptionally dark: toy trafficking. In the end, after the toys escape from his luggage, Al's punishment is his failed business. He becomes broke and appears in a TV commercial selling his toys for extremely low prices. Tragic ending, but not as tragic as Stinky Pete the Prospector's story. Stinky Pete was never taken out of his box. He spent decades sitting on a store shelf while other toys were purchased and loved by children. His loneliness eventually turned into resentment, but because of his mint condition, he was a perfect high-value collectible toy. He spends most of his time in his box, hanging with Bullseye and Jessie, and he meets Woody after Al steals him. He claims that children only destroy toys and then forget and abandon them. So Stinky Pete's dream was now closer than ever, because with Woody as a missing toy for a whole set, they could finally be sold to the Kanishi Toy Museum without the fear of destruction by kids. Unfortunately, the toys soon discover that Stinky Pete is ready to do anything to achieve this goal, even trapping Woody inside Al's toy store to prevent him from leaving. His initial crime? False imprisonment. Later, as Al McWiggin is on his way to Japan to sell them, Stinky Pete does everything to prevent the toys from saving Woody from the airport. And finally, his worst crime is an assault with a deadly weapon. He attacks Woody with his pick, aiming to sever his arm in order to stop him from leaving the luggage. Even though he didn't want to completely destroy Woody, it still counts as an extremely violent crime. Eventually, the toys come to the rescue and save Woody. In the end, Stinky Pete's fear comes true as he is left by the toys in a random airport bag. He is found by the owner, a girl named Amy, who loves to paint the faces of her toys. Gabby had similar abandonment issues. She is a vintage doll with a broken voice box. Because of this malfunction, her first owner gave her away, and she eventually found herself in an antique store, where she spent decades watching other toys leave while she remained unwanted. Gabby believes that if she can just fix her voice box, a child will finally love her. She meets Woody and Forky when she and her henchmen, the Bensons, are out for their evening stroll. She offers them a ride, offering to help find Bo Peep, but something seems off with her. The Bensons, mute ventriloquist dummies, and her henchmen put Woody and Forky into the carriage and prevent them from leaving. So Gabby and her henchmen commit kidnapping and false imprisonment, but her much darker agenda is slowly coming to the surface. Gabby's worst crime may sound light from a human perspective, but from toy point of view, it's a nightmare. Desperate to be loved by a child, Gabby wants to take Woody's voice box and replace it with her own broken one. From a human perspective, it's stealing, but from a toy perspective, her crime is organ harvesting and mutilation. In the end, Woody voluntarily gives her his voice box to help her become an accepted toy, but she is rejected by Harmony, the girl she hoped would become her owner. Woody then convinces Gabby to join him and find a new child, which she eventually does when she helps a lost girl at the carnival. So Gabby goes from a dark villain to a redeemed toy. Sid Phillips had a similar redemption arc. Sid is Andy's next door neighbor. He's a rebellious kid who likes heavy metal, explosives, and destroying toys. But he does much more than simple destruction. He mixes up their body parts and creates mutilated hybrids, like a baby doll head attached to spider legs. Sid creates terrifying monster toys with his cruel experiments, and if you see it from the toys' perspective, it's beyond horrifying. He also steals toys from his sister, Hannah, and performs his operations on them. The doll named Janie ends up with a pterodactyl head, and if that doesn't satisfy his sadistic needs, his dog Scud will finish the job. So from a human perspective, Sid's worst crimes are theft and destruction of property. Crimes that wouldn't even be classified as such under the circumstances. But from a toy's perspective, Sid is a sociopathic serial killer and torturer. The toys don't have laws, courts, and prisons for kids like Sid. But if they did, his trial would be legendary. Enough probably for several life sentences. Sid also likes to play with pyrotechnics, using them to cause mayhem to the toys. He gets a large firework rocket called the Big One and straps Buzz Lightyear to it, planning to launch him into orbit. Luckily for Buzz, that doesn't happen because the toys come up with a plan that could leave Sid with lifelong trauma. They scare him simply by becoming alive. This experience makes Sid the only known human in the Toy Story universe who knows toys are alive.
I'm talking to you, Sid Phillips. We don't like being blown up, Sid. Or smashed, or ripped apart. That's right, your toy.
But Sid's story turned out well, as in the third movie, we see that he became a garbage man and is happy with his job. Perhaps what changed him was a strange, scary warning he got from the toys. Or he simply found peace in his own way, like many troubled kids and teenagers do. Nevertheless, the experience with the toys certainly had a huge impact on his life. A lot of these villains had a redemption arc, but not Lotso Huggin' Bear. At least not yet. This lovely strawberry-smelling bear appears to be a friendly, wise toy in the beginning. But it turns out that Lotso is a ruthless teddy bear dictator whose primary crime is running Sunnyside Daycare as a strict totalitarian regime. He forces new toys into the toddler playroom where they are imprisoned and guarded, while Lotso and his close allies live comfortably in safer areas of the daycare. His origin is a classic Toy Story. He was once owned by a girl named Daisy who loved him. They did everything together, and Lotso was her favorite toy. But after being accidentally left behind during a trip, he had to go all the way back to her house, only to discover that she had already replaced him with another identical toy. This event broke Lotso, and he lied to Big Baby and Chuckles, telling them that Daisy replaced them as well. After Buzz and the toys decide to leave, Lotso's henchmen capture him, and they then reset Buzz's programming. This wipes Buzz's entire personality and restores him to factory settings. From a human perspective, it was just a factory reset, but from a toy's perspective, it was a much more serious crime. Mind control, brainwashing, and psychological torture. Because of this, Buzz becomes loyal to Lotso and acts as his henchman. He interrogates toys, imprisons them, and guards their prison cells. Another crime, false imprisonment and abuse. And this toy prison has a perfect totalitarian surveillance system as well. Lotso's monkey enforcer works as a nighttime security guard, watching all the security cameras in his office. And if someone doesn't obey the rules, Lotso's main enforcer, Big Baby, is there to send them to the sandbox. This is equivalent to solitary confinement in prison. This can be counted as another act of torture and toy cruelty. Lotso relies on his loyal henchmen, and his entire dictatorship is backed by them. When they slowly betray him, Lotso slowly loses his position. He is totally defeated when Big Baby turns on him. Later, after being mistakenly placed in a garbage bag by Andy's mother, the toys escape the bag and end up in a dumpster behind Sunnyside Daycare, which is then picked up by a garbage truck and taken to the landfill. And that's where Lotso commits his worst crime. When they become trapped on a conveyor belt, which slowly leads them to a huge fire, Lotso sees a stop button, climbs to it, and then refuses to press it, sending the toys down to the fire to be destroyed. In the end, they are saved by the three-eyed alien toys, but this cruel crime qualifies as attempted mass murder. In the end, Lotso is found by a garbage truck driver who picks him up, recalls owning one as a child, and straps him to the front of his truck with the other damaged toys. It's a much better fate than he deserves. And now, the most evil villain in Toy Story, Emperor Zurg. In the first Toy Story movie, Buzz explains that Zurg is the sworn enemy of the Galactic Alliance and his own personal arch-enemy. In Lightyear, we find out more about this unusual villain and his backstory. Zurg commands an army of advanced robots known as Cyclops. These machines attack the colony and repeatedly assault Buzz and his team during their missions. So Emperor Zurg's initial crime was military aggression, but not his worst. Later, he's revealed to be an older, time-traveling version of Buzz himself, who spent decades trying to fix his hyperspeed fuel mistake on the planet Takani Prime. He wants to use the hyperspace crystal to power his ship for time travel, so he can go back in time to prevent his crew from ever landing on the Takani Prime, thereby altering the past. The consequences of this would be terrible, as it would wipe out the current timeline, the colony on Takani Prime, and would erase all of Buzz's friend Alicia Hawthorne's descendants. By going back to prevent the initial crash, Zurg intended to erase the entire lives the colonists built. Pretty dark crimes, attempted timeline erasure, and mass murders. When Buzz tries to stop him, Zurg's robot soldiers capture him. But Negasox, the villainous version of Buzz's robot cat, helps Buzz escape and destroy the ship. After the ship is damaged, Zurg commits one last crime, attempted murder, as he tries to kill Buzz with his laser blast. Buzz and his crew escape, seemingly leaving Zurg to die in the explosion. But later, the post-credits scene reveals that Emperor Zurg survived the final explosion, and perhaps he's plotting revenge? A teaser for a potential sequel. And before that sequel comes, let us know what you think. Who is the cruelest villain from today's video? And who deserved their ending? And if you like this video, make sure to watch What If Zootopia 2 characters were punished for their crimes.